Cancers, welcome to your weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is for March 28th through the 3rd of April, 2016. I'm Athen, and this is for Sidereal Astrology. If you are new to the channel, be sure to check out the link down below because the signs are different. All right, so Cancer, very important month as it's been in March, and this week is no exception to that. We are entering into April, so there is a lot of this new kind of energy shifting, and you can see it in the astrology as well. So this week, it's about implementing a lot of these insights that we have been gaining, particularly since last week, or more recently since last week, which was that lunar eclipse in Virgo. So for you, that's been your third house, which is the house of everything either social, on a more of a immediate environment, maybe having to do with short distance travel, short distance communication, anything that's about either reading, writing, sharing, and synergizing with others. And maybe even too, an awareness of your mind and your perspective on life, which is the third house. Third house is the house of the mind, particularly the practical mind. And what you can do now in this status check to improve your life and change your life so that perhaps it is a bit more practical. So perhaps it is a bit more interactive or social or that kind of thing. Maybe doing some of that reading and writing as well. So whatever it's been for you, particularly in that area, I think implementing it this week, because we are going to be in the third quarter phase, which is about taking action towards those insights. Now the sun is in Pisces in your ninth house, so there's a lot of attention, in fact, right now with the ninth house for you. You've got your sun here, Mercury, and Venus shifting into here this week. So first of all, there's a lot of energy you can gain by expanding your horizons. All right, it's a great time still to really tap into that adventurous spirit. Now that might be adventure such as through travel or connecting with nature, doing some hiking or whatever on that level, but also if it's more introverted, maybe a bit more philosophically, really asking yourself, what is life? What is your life path? What is life about? And these philosophical kinds of questions. And that's a great way to work with this. I think you can gain a lot of energy through seeing the world and seeing life in that way, focusing on your worldview and that sort of thing. There's a lot you can learn about it with Mercury here. And I feel like with Venus shifting in here this week, you can actually enjoy it, whether again it's connecting with nature or that more philosophical outlook of life. Now, we do have some aspects coming off of last week, and that's going to be Jupiter to Saturn. That's going to be dissipating as we approach the weekend. We've got the South Node still conjoining up to Chiron. That's also dissipating. So still important though, and with this Saturn, this has been this constructive energy, suggesting that there is patience needed here along the life path with all of these changes. And this is particularly with, I think, where now it's this new area for you, where it's the universe, where it's your life path, shifting you into cultivating your sense of self-worth, or maybe your self-reliance, or on an external level, your material values, your material security. All right, it's a good area to focus on for the next 2 years, and I think you're learning quite a bit about this with Jupiter retrograde here. But Saturn's saying, yeah, but it takes work, it takes discipline, it takes that patient approach, and I think that's excellent to continue to cultivate this week. Now, this is a Saturn in your fifth house of self-expression, and now Saturn has recently gone retrograde since last week, so you might be re-examining exactly what you're building right now in terms of your interests, in terms of your self-expression, and that's a really good way of working with the energies this week. Also, perhaps you got some motivation and drive to express yourself, which could be cultivated as well. Now, in terms of this conjunction with Chiron in the South Node, this is releasing in terms of perhaps old worldviews that are no longer serving you, or some sort of thing here, the way you're seeing life, or you're seeing your life and life in and of itself, that might be healing. And this has been already ongoing. So it's old perspectives, old wounds being healed about this adventurous spirit perhaps. And this week on Tuesday and Wednesday, Venus is going to go over this conjunction. So this is particularly about old values about this, right? It's still a great time, I think, for you to enjoy that adventurous spirit, but early in the week, maybe there's some old values, maybe there's some old wounds around it, around the adventurous spirit within you that might need some of that healing this week. Now, Venus does rule your fourth house and your 11th house, so maybe some healing and also balancing in terms of your home life, your family life, or your health, maybe even involving groups that you're a part of, or your ideals or friends. These types of matters I think will be important to have that attention on, in terms of healing wounds around them and perhaps balancing and changing those areas this early part of the week so that you can have more of that spiritual freedom. Now, Mercury is going to be squaring up to Pluto and trining up to Saturn this week. And so with all this, I think thinking perhaps more on the philosophical or adventurous level, there's a lot of support for that with Saturn trining up to it. And I think it's a good week to implement that. Again, maybe some self-expression about your spirit. You know, the ninth house is your life spirit, which again is that adventurous type of energy. Now, with the square from Pluto, it's suggesting that maybe there are some changes that have been taking place over many years, some intense changes with your work, maybe with your routine, your regiments, your daily activities that may need that extra attention this week to be integrated, to be worked on, to see how you can apply this practical, everyday stuff with the adventurous spirit, right? With the more spiritual side of the chart, the ninth house. And the more willing you are to change and the more willing you are to work with it, then this can be very constructive. And I feel like it will definitely have that constructive connotation to it regardless because of that trine from Saturn. Now on Thursday, also involving this 11th house, Mercury is going to go over Uranus. So there's been this freedom, you wanting to, for many years, about 6 years, you wanting to have more freedom in this area of your life. So you can see the open horizons, you can have expansion, you can see what's possible. And I think it's a great week to listen to that intuitively. Now do keep everything nice and grounded, of course, because it is a very transformational planet, Uranus. We want to make sure we're working with it practically with Mercury. Maybe we're getting the information, we're working with it. But something here is suggesting that there might need to be a shift. There might need to be a shift in perspective about life this week, or it might just happen naturally, in which it's now taking you into a new direction of how you can apply it and how you can work with it on that daily level. Now, there's no major aspects over the weekend, but I do want to cover it. So Saturday and Sunday, the moon will be in Capricorn. And so this is your 7th house. Could be a good weekend for connecting with relationships, new ones, existing ones, whatever it might be, and just generally those one-to-one connections. All right, Cancer, so hope you guys have a great week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next week.